So friends, let's start with today's lovely kulkul recipe. So here are the ingredients. So I'm going to be using about 250 grams of maida or all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of fine semolina or rava. This is a pinch of salt. This is 50 grams of powdered sugar, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, 1 tablespoon of ghee, and this is 100 ml of thick coconut milk. So now in a large plate, I'm going to add the flour, the rava, the salt and the powdered sugar, and I'm going to mix all of them really well so that they all get incorporated well together. Then I'm going to make a well kind of thing in the middle of the flour, and I'm going to add this egg, just beat it up a bit with my fingers. Then I'm going to add the vanilla essence, and I'm going to mix everything well together. Now I'm going to add a little of the coconut milk at a time just to see how much I require to form a nice soft yet a firm dough. So I'm going to keep adding a little of the milk as I require. Then I'm going to add the ghee, and then I'm going to mix everything well together to form this dough. Now you may have to use maybe half of the coconut milk or 3/4 of the coconut milk. It all depends. I've just taken 100 ml to be on the safe side, but you might have to use just half the quantity. And now your dough is all ready. Just cover and keep it for about 1 hour. After an hour, just make these small little balls. And now we're going to use either a comb which has been washed and cleansed nicely. And I'm going to take a small ball, press it down like this on the broader side of the comb, and then just in this fashion just form this kulkul shape. So this is one way of doing it. Now the other way is you take a fork, and using the back of the fork again you spread it out like this, and then you roll it up vertically like this, and you get a different kind of a shape. So you can choose whatever shape you like, whatever you're comfortable making. Now this dough is very elastic and very easy to work with. And now I'll show you 2 types of freehand. So you just flatten it up to form a nice thin circle. The thinner the better. And then you just take the 2 edges this way and the 2 edges this way and just twirl them around, and you get this little rosette kind of a form. Now you can also make a little designer one, with a design on it like a shell. So you just press it down like that, again take it out, and then just fold it like this and like this. So you'll just get a kind of a pattern on the rosette, like a shell kind of thing. So these are the different shapes. Now the tip I'd like to give you here is make the balls really small, and make them as flat and as thin as possible, because the thinner your kulkuls are, they'll fry faster, and they'll even fry to a very crunchy and a very crispy kind of consistency. If you make your kulkuls very big and very fat, they tend to remain a little bit raw in the inside, because we are going to deep fry them on a low flame all the time. Don't increase your flame at all. Keep your flame very low, because what will happen if you keep it on a high flame is only the outside will get colored, golden brown, and the inside will remain raw. So keep these tips in mind. And like I said, the thinner they are, the smaller they are, the thinner they are, they tend to really crisp up faster. And now once your kulkuls are nice and golden brown in color, just take them out and drain them on a kitchen towel or a kitchen napkin, and let them cool completely before you serve them or you store them. And the best way to store them is to store them in an airtight container, either a steel container or a glass container. And they have a long shelf life if you keep them in a nice cool dark place. You don't need to refrigerate them, but keeping these tips in mind, your kulkuls will come out perfect. So guys, let's start with this beautiful recipe of bibinka. It's a 7-layered bibinka, and it's a very simple recipe. Let's get started. So in a bowl, I've taken 8 yolks. To that, I'm going to add 350 grams of regular sugar, and we are going to mix this just for like till the sugar and the yolks, get mixed well together. It will turn from a dark yellow to a pale yellow. Now we have to add 2.5 cups of thick coconut milk. And now you are going to stir this or whisk this till all of the sugar dissolves. So that's very important. So stir this till all of the sugar dissolves. Now I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of nutmeg powder or jaiphal powder. I've just taken the nutmeg and just grated it on a fine grater, and I'm going to add that to my mixture. And now mix the nutmeg in well. Now I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt. Again, we're going to stir and mix this well. Now I'm going to add 140 grams of maida or all-purpose flour. I'm going to add half the quantity first. Whisk it in well till I get a nice smooth mixture without any lumps. And then I'll add the remaining flour and again mix it till there are no lumps in the mixture. Now guys, if you follow this recipe to the T, your bibinka will come out perfect. It's a tried and tested recipe, and it will give it a try, guys, and it will really, it comes out really delicious, and you get the lovely 7 layers. Now we're going to mix this flour and in with all of the rest of the ingredients. Now I've taken 2 bowls and I've also taken a strainer, and I'm going to strain half the quantity into each of the bowls. So we want 2 bowls, with half of the quantity. This is very important that you sift it or you sieve it, because you'll see that there are a lot of particles of the egg and the coconut milk. So if you want a really smooth bibinka, then this step should not be skipped. So just sift it equally into 2 bowls. Now I'm making 2 bowls because I'm going to be adding some caramel to one of them, so that we have this distinct dark and light layer. So once you pour it in, just press it down with a spatula till you get all of the liquid inside. And then you can see there's some kind of sediment of the egg yolk and the coconut milk or the sugar or the nutmeg. So just press it down gently. And now we have 2 bowls with the mixture. So now I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of dark caramel, and we're going to mix it in very, very well. We don't want a very dark chocolatey color, but we just want this light color just to distinguish between the 2 layers. Now I've taken an 8-inch pan with 2 inches thickness, and I'm going to pour about 6 teaspoons of ghee or clarified butter into the pan. Now I've also set my oven to be preheated at 200 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. That's very important that you preheat your oven. Now once you've added the ghee, just swirl it around so that it coats the entire cake tin, the base as well as the sides. That way when you're demolding your bibinka, it will just come out so easily. Now we are going to pour the dark liquid first. So I'm taking about a cup of the liquid. Now just stir it a bit, because sometimes a little bit of it settles to the base. So just stir it a bit, and we're going to add 1 cup to the base of the pan. And now I'm just going to pop this into the oven, and we're going to bake this at 200 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. Put a timer, guys, for this bibinka recipe, and you'll see that you get this dark layer. Now just take about a little bit of the ghee and brush it over this layer. And now we're going to pour the light liquid, again a cup or so, a cup of the light liquid over this. And now when you put it into the oven, we're going to use only the top heating. So in my oven, I have a function called grill. So I'm going to go with the grill function. If you all have an oven which says top, then just go with the top. So we don't want to bake it now. We just want to, cook the top layer only. So again, you're going to do this. You're going to brush it with a little bit of ghee or clarified butter. Again, put the, alternate between the dark and the light colors. And now you're going to only use the top heating function of your oven. We don't want to bake this like you would with a cake, but we want to only cook the top. So this you're going to do, for the next 6 rounds, alternating between dark and light. And keep an eye on your bibinka, because every oven is different. So the minute you find that it's a little bit baked, just keep an eye, take it out, just take a toothpick, insert the toothpick. If the toothpick comes out clean, then you're ready. So now we've finished with it, and now we're just going to let this cool completely for 4 to 5 to 6 hours till it's completely cooled. Now if you want to see that it's ready, just take a toothpick and insert it. The toothpick should come out completely clean. If it doesn't come out clean, then just put it for another 2 or 3 minutes and just bake it on the top. Now after 5 hours, when it's completely cooled, I'm just going to take my knife and I'm just going to loosen it on the edges. Then I'm going to put a plate, I'm going to invert it, and I'm going to just tap the pan, and there you see it's come out so it's so easily. That's because we applied a lot of ghee. And now you can see that our bibinka is all ready to be cut and eaten and enjoyed. So take a sharp knife and just cut it up, in whatever shape you want. And now you will see, friends, that it is, you can see the distinct layers, and there are 7 layers. And the aroma of this bibinka, also my entire kitchen was just like, oh, it was so amazing. So I hope you try out this recipe. If you stick to the recipe and you stick to the steps and you keep an eye on it, and you use go as per whatever your oven, the friends. First we're going to start by taking some ghee in a pan. I've taken about 1 tablespoon of ghee. Now we're going to heat up the ghee on a low to medium flame, and once our ghee is nice and hot, we are going to add 1 cup of dates or khajur, which has been de-seeded. You also get the de-seeded variety, but if yours has seeds in it, just de-seed it. Now we're going to fry this till all of this mixture comes together. You'll actually get the lovely aroma of the dates. So fry this for about 5 minutes. And once that is done, you can just take it out in a separate bowl and let it cool completely. You can even put it into the refrigerator. And now we're going to make the dough for our date rolls. So in a bowl, we're going to take 1 cup of maida or all-purpose flour. Now we're going to add 1 tablespoon of icing sugar or caster sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to add 1 tablespoon of butter, which is at room temperature, and also keep half a cup of cold milk handy. Now first we're going to mix everything very well till it resembles some breadcrumbs. So mix in the butter and the flour and all the other ingredients very well. As you can see, now it resembles breadcrumbs, and when you take a bit of it in your hand, in the palm of your hand, it should come together like this. That means your dough is ready, and now you have to just add milk so that you can just form it into a soft yet a firm dough. So I have used about 1/4 cup of cold milk. So just mix it very well, and once our dough is all ready, we're going to set it aside for 15 minutes. In the meantime, we're going to preheat our oven to 180 degrees Celsius, and we're going to line our baking tray with some baking paper or parchment paper. Now I've also applied a little bit of butter onto the tray so that the baking paper sticks well. Now the date mixture has completely cooled down, so we're just going to mold them into cigar shapes or sausage shapes and keep them aside. Now we're going to take about half of our dough and roll it out using a rolling pin. Roll it out till it comes to about 1 inch thickness. We don't want it very thick and we don't want it very thin. So once you've got a nice rolled out dough, the next step is we're going to cut it up into half, and now we're going to put in our date filling right in the center of each of the halves of the dough. And we're going to fold it gently. Cut off all the excess dough that we don't require. And just pinch the edges so that they get sealed well together. And just roll it out a bit. Do the same with the other one. When you pinch the two edges together, they get sealed very well, and the dough is very easy to work with. It's very elastic. So now you can just take one of them and roll them well till they resemble a flute, a cigar, a sausage, and it has to be nice and rounded. Now take a very sharp knife and cut them into even size. So you can use one to measure all the rest, so you get even sized date rolls. So in this way, cut up the next one too. And I've done the same thing with the other half of the dough. And once we have all of them ready, we're just going to place them on our baking tray, leaving a little space between them. So space them evenly. And now we're just going to brush them with some melted butter. See that you're very generous with this, because this was going to give it a lovely golden brown color once it is baked. You can also use one beaten egg. Just take one egg, beat it up and brush it on top instead of using the butter. You can also use the egg, but of course if you want to keep it completely veg, then you go in for the butter option. And now all we're left to do is bake it in a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 15 to 20 minutes till they are nice and golden brown and baked completely. Don't they look delicious? And yes, they do taste delicious. They're really very crunchy and you have a lovely date filling inside. So I hope you liked this date roll recipe. I have many more Christmas sweets. So today we're going to make these beautiful cookies. So here I've taken about 1.5 cup of maida or all-purpose flour. To that I'm going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of very cold butter. And I'm going to crumble the butter and the flour till it resembles some breadcrumbs. That is, you have to mix each and every grain of the flour with the butter. This is very important for this recipe for the basket or the tartlets or the canapes. You have to actually crumble the entire mixture till it really resembles some breadcrumbs. Now once that is done, we're going to use very cold water. So I'm just using about 2 tablespoons of cold water, and I'm going to then knead this into a very smooth dough. It might take about 2 or 2.5 to 3 tablespoons depending. And we're going to massage this dough till it becomes very smooth and very soft. So it shouldn't be a gooey dough, it should be a firm dough, yet soft and smooth. So now we're going to massage this dough for some time till it really becomes very soft and smooth. Like they say, like a baby's bottom. So you have to massage this really well. And then the key is also to rest this dough for about 15 minutes. That's also very important for this recipe. So just let it set for about 15 minutes. Now after 15 minutes, we're just going to dust our surface with some maida or all-purpose flour. And then I'm just going to roll this dough which has been resting for about 15 minutes. And we want to make it to about 1/2 inch thickness. We don't want a very thick basket. It should be more on the thinner side, so about 1/2 inch. And then I'm just going to take any round object and just make this round shape. You can use a bottle cap, you can use a vati, you can use a cup, whatever you have, and we're going to keep the dough aside to make some more of them. Now you get these little tartlet molds, just butter them up or grease them up with some butter. And then we're just going to fit these rounds that we've cut up of the dough into these molds and shape them to the shape of the mold by just pressing it down lightly. That's very important to grease the molds well. And then you're just going to place these rounds carefully onto the mold and then just press it down so that it takes the shape of the mold. And then you can just remove the extra dough with your fingers, or you can use a knife and just shape it up to the shape of the mold. So in this way, we're going to make all the rest of the molds. So with the dough I'm using, I got about 12 of these baskets. And then just press that down with another mold so that it's nice and firm. Or you can even use a fork and just press down the base so that it doesn't, kind of bubble up at the base. So you either press it down with another mold or just use a fork or a knife and just make small little holes at the base of this mold. Now this would be a good time when you're making the molds to just preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius for about 10 minutes. That's very important. Now our oven is preheated. So we're just going to put these molds onto a baking tray. And we're going to bake this for exactly 10 to 15 minutes till they become a nice golden brown color. Now every oven is different, so keep an eye on your After 15 minutes, our tartlets or canapes or baskets are all ready. So we're going to let them rest till they come to room temperature, and then we're going to demold them. We've taken the desiccated coconut, some powdered sugar and some condensed milk. First, we're going to mix in the powdered sugar with the desiccated coconut very well. And then we're going to add the condensed milk and continue mixing this mixture till everything is well integrated. Now, after we mix all of these three ingredients together, we're going to divide them into 3 equal halves, and we are going to add a pink, rose pink or red color to one and a light green color to the other. Now you can go with any colors that you want. You can leave it plain white. You can just add any color of your choice. I'm just going with the Christmas colors, and I didn't want to go for a very deep red, so I'm going for a little light pink. This is a rose pink color and that is a normal green color. And then we're just going to mix everything very, very well. And now that we have our 3 colors, we're just going to fill the baskets like this with all the 3 colors. You can go with any pattern that you like. So in this way, we're going to make these lovely coconut cordials or coconut baskets. And they're going to look so pretty on your Christmas tree, and they taste delicious too. So I hope you like today's recipe. I hope you give it a try this Christmas. Do let me know in the comments box below how your recipe turned out. You can send me pics on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm very active over there under the same name, Akshata's Recipe. So you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. And I would love to see pictures of all the Christmas sweets that you will be making this year. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, become a part of Akshata's Recipes. Don't forget to like this video, share all my Christmas recipes with family and friends. and I'll be coming up with many more recipes. Also, go and check out my previous recipes. Go to the main page, Akshata's recipes. You'll see something called playlist. Just click on that and go to Christmas. You'll get all the Christmas recipes that I've uploaded till date. And look forward to many more coming too. Along with sweets, I'll be coming with many lunch and dinner ideas for Christmas too. So stay tuned to Akshata's recipes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you sooner than you think in my next video. Bye. Take care. This is Akshata signing off. Bye. We require 1.5 cup of maida or all-purpose flour, a pinch of salt, half a cup of water, and about 2 tablespoons of ghee or clarified butter. So now we're going to add the maida, the salt, the ghee, and we're going to crumble this mixture till it resembles some breadcrumbs. Basically, we want the ghee or the clarified butter to coat the maida very, very well. This is very important. Now, you can also use vanaspati instead of clarified ghee or butter. And then you're going to slowly start adding the water and make this into a nice dough. About half a cup of water should suffice. And once our dough is ready, we're going to cover and keep it aside for at least 30 minutes. This too is very important, that the dough is kept aside for at least 30 minutes. Now we're going to prepare a coating of half a cup of corn flour and 1/4 cup or 1/4 cup of ghee or clarified butter or vanaspati. You're going to whip it till it resembles some whipped cream. Now, after the dough has sat for about 30 minutes, we're going to make this into 6 even-sized balls. See that the balls are nice and roll smooth. And then we're just going to flour our surface, and we're going to roll out each of these balls into very thin sheets. So since it is maida, it is very elastic and it's very, very easy to work with. And you'll also notice one thing, that as you keep rolling, it starts shrinking back into shape. So roll it out as fine and as thin as you're able to, and also that you can try to get all the sheets to be of the same size. Maida or all-purpose flour is very easy to work with, and just flour each of them lightly and just place all 6 of them on a plate. Now take the first sheet and then apply this corn flour and ghee mixture evenly over the sheet. You can use a silicone brush or your fingers or a spoon, whatever you're comfortable with. But see that this coating is evenly spread all over the sheet. Now you place the second sheet on top, pat it down a bit, and repeat this process till you come to the second last sheet. Now this reminds me of puff pastry, and I guess it's a similar process. Although in puff pastry they use butter, so here we're going to be using corn flour and ghee, and this really works very, very well. So this is basically a puff pastry recipe, and you can use this for so many other recipes that require puff pastry. So once you have evenly spread it out on the second last sheet, we are going to place our last sheet, and then we're just going to roll it out very lightly. Don't press it down too much, just very lightly. And because we want those layers. That's very important for this recipe, for the chirote. So don't roll it out too fine, just with a very light hand, just roll it out. And then we're going to roll this in this manner from the broader end, very tightly. Ensure that it's very, very tight, and make it into something that looks like a sausage or a very thin, fine roll. And then we're going to cut the edges off. And then we're going to cut the rest of the roll into even-sized, thick pieces like this. They almost look like bakar vadi, the size. So make it into a thick slice like this and see that they're all even. You can also already see, the layers that are going to come on your chirote once you deep fry them. And then just pat them with your hand and just roll them very lightly like this. We don't want very thin ones. We want them to be a little on the thicker side. Now, if you can roll them out without using flour, that could also do. But the flour does help because it doesn't stick to the platform or the rolling area. So in this manner, just press them down and roll them very lightly. And once that is done, all we have to do is heat up some oil, but we don't want the oil to be smoking hot. So heat the oil on a low to medium flame, and we're going to fry this on a low to medium flame because we want to retain the whitish golden color. We don't want a dark color for this chirote. We want to keep it more on the whiter side, yet we want it to be crispy and fried too. So the trick to that is not to fry it on a high flame, but on a very low to medium flame. And plus your oil should not be very, very hot. And keep some kitchen towels ready, and also keep about half a cup of icing sugar or piti sakhar or powdered sugar. You can just take regular sugar and just powder it in your mixer or blender. We require about half a cup. Put it on a flat plate, because as soon as we drain the excess oil from these chirotes, we're just going to coat them with this icing sugar. So in this way, we're going to fry them. And while they are warm itself, we want to coat them with the icing sugar. And these chirotes are so delicious, and they are literally a melt in the mouth. So now that the chirotes are all done, I'm just going to lightly coat them with some powdered sugar or icing sugar. They look like little clouds, and they even taste like, they're so light and crispy. And that's it, friends. That's the recipe for chirotes.